Achieve your goals alone, ladies and gentlemen. Let's begin with a question. Have you ever heard someone proudly say, "I did it all by myself"? It sounds impressive, powerful, independent, but let me ask you, have you ever known a truly successful person who got there entirely alone? The title of this talk, Achieve Your Goals Alone, sounds bold. It sounds like a challenge, and in a world obsessed with individual success, hustle culture, and the lone wolf mindset, it might even sound like a mantra. But here's the truth: you can go fast alone, but you go far together. I've spent years studying great leaders, from CEO to military officers to social change makers, and what I've found is this: the ones who inspire us, who build lasting success, who leave a legacy, none of them did it alone. Yes, you can set your goals by yourself. You can work tirelessly. You can be the first in and the last out. You can build skill, discipline, and resilience. And for a while, you might even see results. The idea that true success isn't achieved alone may feel counterintuitive in a world that often glorifies individualism. We celebrate the lone genius, the self-made millionaire, the solitary innovator who rose from nothing. Social media is filled with highlight reels that suggest people reach the top entirely on their own, driven by sheer will and personal grit. But when we look closely, we realize that this narrative is incomplete. Behind every success story is a network, seen or unseen, that played a role in that person's journey. Whether it was encouragement from a mentor, a team that carried a vision forward, or simply the emotional support of family or friends, no one truly achieves anything of significance entirely alone. It's easy to fall in love with the image of the lone wolf, someone who doesn't rely on anyone, who sets out on a path and conquers the mountain single-handedly. But here's the thing: wolves don't actually survive alone. In reality, the lone wolf is often the most vulnerable. Real strength, both in nature and in life, comes from the pack. Similarly, in our own journeys, we can achieve milestones by ourselves, yes. We can work hard, stay disciplined, and be proud of how far we've come. But at some point, we all face limits. Limits of knowledge, perspective, energy, or emotion. And it is at those moments when connection becomes vital. One of the most overlooked aspects of success is the presence of people who believe in us even when we don't believe in ourselves. These might be mentors who guide us, peers who challenge us, leaders who support us, or friends who remind us why we started. It might be a single encouraging conversation that shifts your mindset, or an unexpected opportunity that came from someone who saw potential in you. These are not coincidences. They are the threads of connection that quietly weave through every achievement. Even the most successful entrepreneurs and leaders, when asked about their journeys, rarely say they did it alone. They speak of teams, partners, investors, teachers, friends. They talk about the people who helped them refine their ideas, who gave them honest feedback, or who lifted them when failure felt overwhelming. Their success stories are not solo performances. They are ensembles. And the sooner we recognize that, the more intentional we can be about building relationships that matter. Some may argue that relying on others is a sign of weakness. But in truth, it's the opposite. Asking for help, opening up, collaborating. It takes courage. It means acknowledging that we don't have all the answers, and that's okay. It means seeing value in diverse perspectives, in shared experiences, in collective growth. The lone wolf mindset may bring you short bursts of progress, but it won't sustain you. It won't push you to evolve in the ways that only connection can. Success isn't just about the goal, it's about the journey and who you become along the way. And who you become is deeply shaped by the people around you. Their influence, their support, and sometimes even their criticism are the forces that refine your path. If you want to grow as a leader, a creator, a thinker, or a human being, you cannot grow in isolation. So while personal drive and discipline are essential, they're only part of the equation. The rest is connection, it's community, it's partnership. And it's choosing every day to value the people who walk alongside you. Because the truth is, no matter how fiercely independent you are, your greatest achievements will always be, in some way, shared. You can go fast alone, but you go far together. This proverb speaks to a profound truth about the nature of success, growth, and the human experience. In our early efforts to chase a goal, we often believe that doing things on our own is the most efficient way forward. It feels faster, it seems cleaner. There's no one to wait on, no one to disagree with, no one to slow you down, and in many ways that's true, especially at the beginning. Working alone allows for quick decision, making complete control and a sense of self-reliance that can be empowering. But over time, that very independence can become a limitation rather than a strength. When you pursue something entirely on your own, your energy and perspective are the only fuel you have. That might take you a long way, but eventually, you reach a point where your capacity as one person is simply not enough to sustain momentum, especially when the goals become bigger, the terrain becomes more complex, and the challenges become more unpredictable. That's where the difference between going fast and going far becomes clear. Speed can be useful. It can help us gain initial traction, develop habits, and test ideas. But speed without direction, without sustainability, without support, can burn out quickly. It's like sprinting at the beginning of a marathon. You might feel powerful for the first mile, but it won't carry you to the finish. The path to meaningful, long-lasting achievement requires endurance. It requires the ability to adapt, to withstand pressure, to face setbacks, and still keep moving. And that kind of endurance is not built in isolation. When you walk with others, when you build a team, cultivate relationships, and lean into collaboration, you gain access to something more valuable than speed: resilience. Each person brings a different strength. One may be a visionary, another a strategist, another a motivator. Together, you balance one another's weaknesses, amplify each other's ideas, and create an environment where growth happens not just individually, but collectively. More importantly, walking together creates accountability. When you're alone, the only voice keeping you going is your own. But when you have others on the journey with you, your commitment deepens. You show up not just for yourself, but for them. You begin to realize that the goal isn't only personal anymore, it becomes shared, and with that comes a stronger sense of purpose and responsibility. You're no longer running just to win, you're running to build, to lead, to lift others as you go. There's also the emotional aspect. Pursuing big goals can be exhausting. There will be days of doubt, frustration, and failure. Alone, those moments can feel overwhelming. But when you have people beside you, those moments become lighter. You can share the burden. You can be reminded of your why when you forget. You can borrow someone else's belief in you when yours runs low. That's the kind of support that not only keeps you in the race, but makes the journey meaningful. Great achievements, whether in business, art, science, or personal development, are rarely the result of solo efforts. They're the outcome of communities, collaborations, and shared missions. The most innovative companies, the most resilient movements, the most inspiring leaders all understand this. They know that fast wins may come alone, but lasting impact is always a team effort. So if your goal is to go far, to make something that lasts, to become someone who leads others forward, not just yourself, then don't just focus on speed. Focus on who you're walking with. Surround yourself with people who believe in the mission, who push you to grow, and who are willing to stay the course with you. That's how you go far. That's how you build something greater than yourself. Leadership is often misunderstood. Many people assume it's about being in charge, making the final decisions, or having authority over others. But real leadership, the kind that inspires and lasts, is not about titles or positions. It's about people. At its core, leadership is about taking care of the individuals you serve, not commanding them. The most effective leaders are not those who focus solely on performance, metrics, profits, or power, but those who prioritize the well-being, growth, and trust of the people they lead. Think of the leaders who have left a mark on your life, not just in a professional sense, but those who truly made you feel seen, heard, and supported. Chances are, it wasn't their job title that made them impactful. It was their presence, their empathy, their willingness to stand beside you rather than above you. These leaders understood something fundamental, that leadership is a responsibility, not a privilege. Great leaders know that performance is the result of people feeling safe, valued, and connected. When individuals feel supported, they're more likely to take risks, to be creative, to speak up, and to fully invest themselves in the mission. But when fear, pressure, or disconnection dominate a workplace or team, performance suffers, not because people lack skill, but because they lack trust. Trust doesn't come from competence alone. It comes from consistency, honesty, and care. It's built when leaders show that they have their team's best interests at heart, especially in moments of stress or uncertainty. A leader who protects their team in difficult times, who shares credit and takes responsibility, earns a kind of loyalty that no paycheck can buy. And that loyalty isn't just emotional. It translates directly into better performance, greater innovation, and stronger results. There's a story often told about military leadership, where the highest-ranking officers eat last. The youngest soldiers, those on the front lines, are served first, not because of rank, but because of priority. The leaders understand that their job is to serve the people who do the hardest work. That mindset flips the traditional model of leadership on its head. It's not about being served. It's about serving, not about giving orders, but creating an environment where others can thrive. In the business world, the same principle applies. The best leaders are those who remove obstacles for their teams, who listen before they speak, and who lead with humility rather than ego. They recognize that their success is tied directly to the success of those around them. If the team fails, the leader fails. If the team wins, it's because the leader made space for everyone to do their best work. What's powerful about this kind of leadership is that it doesn't require charisma, genius, or decades of experience. It requires intention. It requires the decision to value people over process, empathy over efficiency, and purpose over profit. And the beautiful thing is, when you lead with those values, performance follows naturally, not because people are forced to comply, but because they're inspired to contribute. In the end, leadership is not about being the smartest person in the room. It's about making everyone else feel like they can be. It's about listening more than speaking, lifting others when they're down, and being the kind of person others want to follow, not because they have to, but because they believe in the direction you're leading them. That's the kind of leadership that lasts. That's the kind of leadership that changes lives. You must start with belief in yourself. It's one of the most basic yet powerful truths behind any personal journey toward a meaningful goal. Before anyone else can believe in your vision, before any team, investor, mentor, or supporter can offer their encouragement, you have to be the one to ignite the spark. That belief is the foundation upon which everything else is built. And yet, it's often the hardest part. Why? Because self-belief doesn't come naturally to everyone. In fact, for many people, it's an uphill battle. We carry around doubts planted by past failures, by voices that told us we weren't enough, or by fears that constantly whisper, "What if I'm wrong?" But belief in yourself isn't about being fearless. It's about moving forward despite the fear. It's about choosing to trust your instincts, your vision, and your ability to figure things out as you go. Belief isn't blind optimism. It's not pretending everything will be easy or expecting success without effort. Rather, it's a quiet confidence that even if the road is long, even if mistakes happen, you have what it takes to navigate it. It's knowing that setbacks don't define you, and that progress, no matter how slow, is still progress. This kind of belief is essential because starting something new often means walking alone at first. You'll have ideas that no one else understands. You'll see possibilities that others might not see. And when that happens, you won't always get external validation right away. People may question your direction, and even those closest to you might struggle to see what you see. That's why your internal compass has to be strong enough to carry you through those moments of isolation and uncertainty. Self-belief is also what helps you get back up when you fall, and you will fall more than once. You'll try things that don't work. You'll take risks that don't pay off. You'll face rejection, criticism, and unexpected detours. But belief in yourself acts like a cushion. It softens the blow of failure and reminds you that failing doesn't make you a failure. It just means you're learning, adjusting, and growing. Think of any great creator, innovator, or leader. At some point, they stood at the beginning of something, an idea, a mission, a journey, without anyone else cheering them on. They had to choose to start, they had to be willing to look foolish, they had to push through silence, skepticism, and even their own inner doubts. Their belief came first, everything else followed. The beauty of self-belief is that it grows with action. You don't have to feel completely confident to begin. You just have to begin. Take one small step, then another. With each move forward, you prove to yourself that you can. And slowly, your belief deepens. Not because you convinced yourself through words, but because you showed yourself through experience. It's also important to understand that believing in yourself doesn't mean doing it all yourself. In fact, that belief opens the door for others to join you. When people see that you're serious, when they see your dedication, your passion, your resilience, they're more likely to believe too, but it always starts with you. You are the first believer in your own mission, so if you're standing at the edge of something new, an idea, a dream, a goal that matters, don't wait for someone to give you permission. Don't wait for perfect conditions. Don't wait until you feel ready, just start. Trust yourself enough to take the first step, because no matter how big your goal is, the first person who has to believe in it is you. Relationships are your safety net and your superpower. No matter how skilled, determined, or hardworking you are, there will come a point in your journey where you hit a wall, moment of doubt, fatigue, confusion, or setback. In those moments, it's not your hustle that saves you. It's the people around you. The quality of your relationships often determines the resilience you can build, the clarity you can find, and the courage you can summon. They are not just support systems. They are part of your strategy. When we think about achieving goals, we often focus on tactics, planning, time management, skill development, productivity. These things matter, but the truth is, nothing accelerates growth, innovation, or healing more than genuine connection. The people in your life, whether friends, mentors, teammates, or family, hold perspectives you don't have, strength you can lean on, and insights you didn't know you needed. They reflect back to you your value, especially when you've forgotten it. They remind you who you are and why you started when the road gets blurry. It's tempting, especially in individualistic cultures, to think that asking for help is a sign of weakness. We're told to be self-made, to be independent, to tough it out alone. But real strength comes from knowing when you need others and having the humility to reach out. In fact, the strongest people are often those who know how to build strong relationships. They invest in others, they give generously, and because of that, they're able to receive when the time comes. Think of any major achievement in your life. If you trace it back, chances are you'll find a person who played a key role. Maybe it was a teacher who encouraged you, a friend who challenged you, a colleague who collaborated with you, or a mentor who opened a door. We often forget how deeply intertwined our journeys are with others until we stop and look back. No one makes it alone, not really. The myth of the lone genius or solo success story is just that, a myth. What's powerful about relationships is that they give you access to more than just support. They give you multiplication. When you're connected with the right people, your ideas grow faster, your confidence increases, and your potential expands. You move beyond the limits of your own knowledge and perspective. You gain creative input, emotional grounding, and practical feedback. You begin to think bigger, not just for yourself, but for what you can build together. Strong relationships also create safety, and safety is crucial for growth. When you feel safe psychologically, emotionally, and socially, you're more likely to take risks, try new things, and push yourself. You know that even if you fail, you won't fall alone. That kind of safety allows for the kind of innovation and courage that no amount of pressure or perfectionism ever will. But relationships don't just appear. They are built, they require intention, they require showing up, listening deeply, being trustworthy, and being generous. You get out what you put in. When you invest in people, not just when you need something, but consistently, you build a network of mutual trust and care that becomes one of the most valuable assets in your life. So if you're serious about your goals, don't just focus on what you're building. Focus on who you're building with. Cultivate a circle of people who challenge you, support you, and believe in your vision. Be that person for others too, because when the journey gets hard, and it will, it's the relationships you've nurtured that will keep you grounded and keep you going. They are your anchor, your amplifier, and your reminder that you were never meant to do this alone. Asking for help is often misunderstood. We grow up with the idea that strength means doing everything on our own, that independence is the ultimate marker of capability. But the truth is, the ability to ask for help is one of the greatest signs of emotional intelligence and personal strength. It shows self-awareness, humility, and the courage to admit that we don't know everything, and we don't have to. No one accomplishes meaningful goals entirely alone. Every success story, no matter how self-driven it appears, is touched by others along the way, whether through support, guidance, encouragement, or collaboration. When we try to shoulder everything ourselves, we limit what we're capable of. We block out new perspectives. We make the journey harder than it needs to be. Asking for help isn't about giving up control. It's about recognizing when collaboration can take us further. There's a certain kind of power that comes with vulnerability. When we're willing to say, "I don't have all the answers," or "I'm struggling with this," we open the door to connection. People relate to honesty. They want to contribute when they feel their input is valued. And more often than not, they respect those who are brave enough to admit their limitations. Ironically, it's in those moments of perceived weakness that we often earn the most trust. Beyond the practical benefits, faster problem solving, better decisions, increased resilience, asking for help deepens relationships. It allows others to step into their strengths, just as we step into ours when we help them. It creates a dynamic of reciprocity, of mutual respect. It shifts the culture around us from one of silent struggle to one of shared effort. Of course, asking for help doesn't mean leaning on others for everything or avoiding responsibility. It means being wise about when and how to bring others in. It means knowing when you've reached the edge of your current capacity, and having the clarity to invite in support, wisdom, or skill that you may not yet have. In the end, the most successful people aren't those who go it alone. They're the ones who know how to build bridges, create teams, and ask for a hand when they need one. Because true strength isn't in doing everything yourself. It's in knowing you don't have to.